The sun shone brightly on a beautiful forest. Birds sang sweetly, their melodies filling the air with a sense of joy and tranquility. Butterflies fluttered by, their delicate wings catching the sunlight and creating a mesmerizing dance of colors. The forest was alive with the sounds and sights of nature, each element contributing to the serene atmosphere. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, adding a soft, whispering sound to the symphony of the forest. The leaves swayed gracefully, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. It was as if the trees were conversing with each other, sharing secrets carried by the wind. Everything seemed perfect and peaceful. The forest was a sanctuary, a place where time seemed to stand still. The tranquility was almost palpable, wrapping around everything like a comforting blanket. It was a perfect day, one that made you feel grateful to be alive and part of this beautiful world.
Among the many animals living in this forest, there was a clever crow known for his quick thinking. He was a familiar sight, often seen perched high in the trees, observing everything with his sharp eyes. The other animals respected him for his intelligence and resourcefulness. He was perched on a branch, enjoying the warmth of the sun on his feathers. The sunlight made his black feathers gleam with a beautiful sheen. He stretched his wings, feeling the gentle heat seep into his body, and let out a contented caw.
Not far from him, a cunning fox was sniffing around for his breakfast. The fox moved stealthily through the underbrush, his nose twitching as he picked up various scents. He was always on the lookout for an easy meal, his sharp mind constantly calculating his next move. He was sly and always looking for an easy meal. His eyes darted around, taking in every detail of his surroundings. The fox prided himself on his cunning nature, believing that he could outsmart any creature in the forest. The fox spotted the crow, his eyes gleaming with mischief. He paused, considering his options. The crow was known to be clever, but the fox was confident in his own abilities. He licked his lips, already imagining the taste of a successful hunt. He knew the crow was clever, but he also believed he was more cunning. The fox's mind raced with plans and strategies, each one more devious than the last. He was determined to outwit the crow and prove his superiority. The forest, with all its beauty and tranquility, was also a place of constant challenges and tests of wits.
Good morning, Mr. Crow. How are you on this fine day? What a fine day it is, don't you agree? The sun is shining, the breeze is gentle, and the world seems perfect.
The crow, a little suspicious of the fox's sudden friendliness, simply nodded his head. He had heard tales of the fox's cunning nature and wasn't sure what to make of this unexpected greeting. He knew the fox was up to something. The fox had a reputation for being sly and deceitful, and the crow had to be on his guard.
You know, Mr. Crow, I've always admired your beautiful black feathers. They are so sleek and shiny, truly a marvel of nature. They shine so brilliantly in the sunlight, it's as if they're made of the finest silk.
The crow, though wary, couldn't help but feel a little proud. He had always taken great care of his feathers, and the fox's compliment struck a chord. He puffed up his chest, showing off his feathers. The sunlight caught them just right, making them glisten even more. The fox saw his opportunity. He knew that vanity was the crow's weakness, and he planned to exploit it to his advantage. With a cunning smile, the fox continued to flatter the crow, hoping to lower his guard even further. The fox's plan was in motion, and he was determined to see it through.
Tell me, Mr. Crow, is it true what they say, that your voice is even more beautiful than your feathers? I've heard tales of your melodious songs echoing through the forest.
The crow froze. He loved to sing, and the idea of being praised for his voice was tempting. But he knew the fox was trying to trick him. The fox had a reputation for being cunning and deceitful. He didn't want to fall for it. The crow remembered stories of other animals who had been fooled by the fox's sweet words. However, the fox's words had struck a chord. The crow's pride was at stake. The crow couldn't resist the urge to prove him wrong. He wanted to show the fox that he was not just beautiful, but also had a lovely voice. He wanted to show the fox that he was not just beautiful, but also had a lovely voice. With a deep breath, the crow began to sing, his voice filling the forest with a melody so enchanting that even the leaves seemed to dance to his tune. The fox listened intently, his sly grin growing wider. He knew he had the crow right where he wanted him. The crow, lost in his own song, didn't notice the fox's true intentions. As the crow sang passionately, His eyes closed in concentration. He felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. Little did he know, the fox was already planning his next move. The fox inched closer to the tree, his calculating look never leaving the crow. He was ready to seize the moment as soon as the crow finished his song. As the crow finished his song, he looked pleased with himself, unaware of the fox's cunning plan. The forest fell silent, waiting for what would happen next. The crow thought for a moment, then he had an idea. He spotted a pitcher lying nearby, half filled with water. He swooped down, picked up a pebble in his beak, and dropped it into the pitcher.
What are you doing, Mr. Crow?
The fox watched, puzzled. The crow, ignoring the fox, continued to drop pebbles into the pitcher one by one. As he did, the water level slowly began to rise. Finally, the water level was high enough. The crow dipped his beak into the pitcher and took a long, refreshing drink. He then looked at the fox, a triumphant glint in his eye. The fox understood. He had been outsmarted. Disappointed and thirsty, he could only slink away, his tail between his legs, his plan foiled by the crow's cleverness. The crow, perched on the pitcher, watched the fox go. He had learned that day that intelligence and quick thinking could overcome even the slyest of tricks. And so, the crow continued to sing his beautiful song, a reminder to everyone that being clever is always better than being cunning. Thank you for being part of our amazing journey. Your support means the world to us. So hit that like button, subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more exciting content.